Straight ahead in the Red Zone, the Rebels rammed their way into Fort Collins.
High level of energy, high level of effort, and don't go out there to defend. Go out there to attack.
But things blew up from the very beginning.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Head coach Tony Sanchez is in studio to break down what happened. Plus, we go one-on-one with quarterback Kenyon Oblad and a feature on wide receiver Randal Grimes, who's balancing a lot of things and doing it well. So settle in for the Red Zone.
We gotta have all of you, brothers in arms.
30 minutes of UNLV football right now.
This is the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by R.C. Willey and Levitt Law Firm.
Welcome inside the Red Zone. Kevin Bollinger alongside UNLV head football coach Tony Sanchez, back from Fort Collins in a game that the stats showed one thing, the final score showed something completely different.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, you walk in at halftime, you got more yards rushing, you got more yards passing, you're down 24-0. It's just it was a tough way to start the game off. Obviously, we pinned the kickoff far left corner and did not execute the coverage team, and we're down 7-0. And then throughout the course of that half, our punt coverage was just really poor. I mean, they kept starting with the ball right around midfield, kept giving them short fields, so they scored a bunch of points and didn't have a lot of yards. And you can't start a game that way.
Well, let's go to the highlights. We're going to begin with the first half, where a hole was dug right from the opening kickoff.
Let it go. Every one of you, let it go. Let all your fears go. One play at a time, lineman assignment, own it.
Protect the ball, protect the team, protect the quarterback. Bring it in like GMB effort. GMB.
A beautiful, crisp fall day in Fort Collins as UNLV tangled with Colorado State. But for the Rebels, it turned gloomy quick. Opening kickoff, the Rams' Anthony Hopkins weaves through traffic and then he gets in the clear. Gone. 96 yards for the touchdown as UNLV quickly fell into a 7-0 hole. UNLV's first possession, 3rd and 10 at their own 41. No one picks up the blitz and Kenyon Oblad is sacked for a loss of 10. CSU had good field position and they took advantage, driving for a touchdown quickly, capped by Marcus McElroy from 18 yards out, and it was 14-0. Colorado State got the ball back and had a 4th and 13. Quarterback Patrick O'Brien throws it up for his 6'6" receiver Warren Jackson. That's a 28-yard gain and a first down at the 11. Next play, Jalen Thomas with the stiff arm, and after that, there was no one. Another score for the Rams, and Colorado State led 21-0 after the first quarter. The second quarter wasn't much better as the Rebel offense couldn't get any momentum, and Oblad struggled with accuracy. With 7 seconds left, Oblad hit Gio Paolo, but he couldn't get into the end zone. The clock ran out, and the tempers flared up as UNLV went into the locker room trailing 24-0.
Well, we talked a little bit about it off the top. A brutal way to start a game with that opening kickoff. Where was the coverage breakdown there?
They ran a field return, so they broke it back to the field, and our edge guys that got to turn it back in just didn't do it. So, again, you can't start off a game that way. You see 27 right there off the edge, and he's got to do a good job of forcing that thing back in. And then the safety has got to be able to pick it up. So, didn't execute it, and then you saw as the half went on. I mean, third downs. We had a lot of third and longs. We could not get off the field. They kept on hitting their big, tall receiver, number 6, and kept making big time plays. So we got to do a better job of getting off the field in third downs. And offensively, we got to find ourselves. We had 2 drives towards the end of the half that we could have put points on the board and failed to do so. Kenyon was a little bit off, and we had a critical drop. We had, after we were down 14-0, and we had a third down, and we throw the ball over the middle to Darren Woods. Ball's a little bit off, but it touched both hands. And we end up, that's incomplete. We punt the ball, they return it to the 50. We get a face mask. We go from having the ball in their 35 to them having the ball on our 35. Next thing you know, you're down 21-0.
The field position discrepancy was huge, and you talked about getting off the field, but also there were some punt coverage issues. Colorado State, basically made it tough for you guys to flip the field because they kept getting themselves in great position.
Well, 100%. Again, we go back to halftime stats, and we have more yards rushing, we have more yards passing, so we have more total yards than they do, but they have 24 points and we don't have any, right? All came down to field position.
The third down plays, there were a few instances where you had 3rd and long and there were 3-yard passes. Why not get guys to routes past the sticks rather than getting them smothered there?
Well, the first one, you got an oblique route, and you got zero coverage, so you're hoping you can get the ball to Tyleek right there, and he's just got that one guy to beat, didn't do it. The next time was it was a mistake. You know, we call a certain route, and quarterback went to the check down. You have to know in that situation you can't go to the check down route. There's 3 other guys out in the route. You got to go to the guys past the sticks on that.
All right, let's talk about Warren Jackson. You brought him up. He's 6'6", the Colorado State wide receiver. Matchup problem. Everybody knew that going in. Eventually, you ended up putting a linebacker, Javen White, on him. But he was just one of those guys that you just couldn't match up with, and he made some important catches in crucial times.
And we're going to have those situations that are going to come on, you know, down the stretch. There's some other big receivers out there that are going to, you know, give us some fits. So we have to do a better job, especially at that corner spot. We got to do a better job of being more confident, turning around and playing balls. You know, we got to be more physical. Can't give these guys free releases off the line. So Javen, it just showed his athleticism. That's why so many NFL scouts are so high on him. He went out and he got right in his face, played press coverage, and really slowed him down and shut him down when he was on him. So unfortunately, he got too much too early.
Well, let's go to the second half now. The Rebels did settle in, but they just couldn't make up the ground.
The Rebels had the ball to start the second half, and the offense showed a little life. Chad Magyar catches the ball for a first down, plus a roughing the passer penalty put UNLV in the red zone. But they'd have to settle for a 37-yard field goal from Daniel Gutierrez. UNLV was on the board, but still trailed 24-3. CSU answered on 3rd and 9 at their own 40. O'Brien goes downfield to E.J. Scott, and that's a first down. That would lead to a Ram field goal to make it 27-3. Oblad hit Jacob Gasser to move the chains near midfield. Then a scary moment on the pass to Noah Bean. He is hit hard, helmet to helmet, and had to be carted off the field. Bean went to the hospital but was discharged Saturday night. On 4th and 6 at the Ram 35, Oblad overthrows Faolo, and UNLV turned the ball over on downs. Colorado State capitalized on 2nd and 20. O'Brien to a wide-open Jackson for 41 yards to the 22. That led to another field goal to push the CSU lead to 30-3. UNLV got into the end zone for the first time with 7:08 left on this great one-handed touchdown grab by Randal Grimes. The Rams, though, would answer right back. Christian Hunter taking it in from 5 yards out. The Rebs would put one more drive together, and on 4th down, Oblad connected with Darren Woods Jr., who fights to get into the end zone, but it was too little, too late. There really wasn't a big disparity in the stats, except for the one that counts, as UNLV never recovered from the bad start and loses 37-17.
Everybody's sad right now because everybody wants to go to bowl games, play college football, go to bowl games, win games, you know, and we didn't. So, you know, we're all just trying to finish this season out strong, play hard for the seniors and for the coaches, you know. That's what we're trying to do.
Let's start with silver lining. The offense really settled in the second half and put together some good drives.
They did. It's got to happen earlier, though, and it's got to happen more frequently. Again, we had plenty of opportunities moving the ball up and down the field. Again, the first drive of the second half, we drive right down. We settle for another field goal. We got to learn how to push those balls in, put a little bit more pressure on them. The drive where you see Noah Bean got hit and knocked out, we end up not converting that. We had a great drive going, got all the way down the field. Got to come up with something. You got to come up with another touchdown in that situation when you're down. And then at the end of the game, after we did score, and it was 30-10, you still had a lot of time left on the clock. You got to get a 3 and out. You got to get a stop. And we kept putting them in 3rd and long situations. You saw that 2nd and 20 some odd situation. You got to get off the field in those situations. And we continue to have wide open receivers down the field and not get off the field.
The Noah Bean was a vicious hit.
Yeah.
What kind of update can you give us on his health?
I talked to him last night after we landed back. He actually stayed the night in Colorado. They want to just observe him. All his tests came back negative, so he's fine. He's going to be good. Just a little rest. He should be flying in here any second now, so he should be landing here, and he'll be back with us tomorrow. But he'll be okay. A little scary moment, though.
Yeah, when you see something like that and immediately you see players on the other team waving the doctors and trainers onto the field, and their doctors and trainers on that sideline went on there. I mean, that's kind of one of those hold your breath moments.
He won't limp for a minute. He was definitely out. It's almost like watching a boxing match when the guy gets hit and you see him go out for a second and then kind of, come back to it. So by the time I got over to him on the field, he was communicating and talking. So, he'll be okay, but it is a scary moment.
Kenyon Oblad had some accuracy issues, a lot of high throws, some throws behind guys. He got sacked 5 times. He never looked comfortable in this game.
Yeah, no, I mean, he definitely was a little off target. You know, normally you see a little bit better accuracy from him. Again, it wasn't terrible, but I mean, he's got to just bring it in a little bit. And at the same time, some of those guys got to help making critical catches for him. I mean, it's not always going to be perfect, and you got to go ahead. I mean, you get both hands on the ball, you got to come up with some of those big catches. You know, the other team's doing it, so you got to do the same thing. You know, that third down one right there, I mean, it is the right read. You know, not a perfect ball, but it's a ball that can be caught. You know, right there, we got to get on the same page. And he's a young guy, and you're kind of living through some of the freshman struggles. So, but right now, you know, the guys behind him, you know, Armand was expressing last week that he didn't feel 100% ready to go, running the ball and things like that. So, we got a bye week to get healthy. We got to get that quarterback room going and figure out what we need to do to put ourselves in a situation to win a football game.
UNLV is eliminated from bowl contention. How do you make sure that this group stays focused, knowing that there are still some important games in these final three, including the Cannon game to wrap up the season?
No doubt. I mean, you know, obviously we'll talk about it with the bye week coming up, but you know, you got the battle for the Pineapple Trophy, right, with Hawaii, and that's always a big game. You know, you have the last game ever at Sam Boyd Stadium, and then you've got the battle for the Fremont Cannon, which is a huge thing. You know, to have our seniors, our fifth-year guys, to have a chance to win it 3 of 5 years, that's a big deal. That hasn't happened around here in a long time. I think it was 1 in 10 before we got here. So those guys are learning how to win that thing consistently. So that'd be a big, great opportunity for them to end the season. So there's a lot to play for. You know, we got a lot of great guys that, you know, this is going to be the end of their football careers. They're not going to go on and play at that next level. Handful, maybe 1 or 2 guys will get that opportunity. And then there's a lot of really good young guys in the program now. And they got to finish strong and create that attitude, you know, that winning attitude. You know, Rebel football is going to take off. I mean, the infrastructure is where it needs to be, the investment's where it needs to be. There's a great opportunity for this program to move forward, and those young guys can never be okay with losing.
We're just getting started here in the Reb Zone. When we come back, I sit down to go one-on-one with quarterback Kenyon Oblad to talk football and family. That's all in 2 minutes as the Reb Zone rolls on.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by R.C. Willey and Levitt Law Firm.
Kenyon Oblad was forced into action midseason and has had some good moments as he grows and matures as a quarterback right before our eyes. We sat down this week to talk with him about how things are progressing.
Let's talk about the adjustment from high school to college. What's been the biggest difference?
I would say the biggest difference is probably just everything that, you know, the speed, all the different, you know, plays and schemes we have in college that we didn't usually do in high school. You know, the knowledge you have to have of the defensive coverages and fronts and blitzes and everything like that. You know, it's just a lot more advanced in high school.
You've been through so many situations in a short period of time with blowout losses and then that really bad stretch and then having to drive to try and get in the scoring position like you did at San Diego State. How much will those situations help you as you go through your college career?
Well, I mean, I'm glad I'm getting to see them all now because I've seen a lot of different situations, you know, throughout my first 4 or 5 games I've played, and you know, it's really helping me because I'm getting to see them in my first, you know, ever game. So it's, you know, preparing me to know what I'm going to see, and so next time I'll be able to be more prepared for it next time.
How much is film a part of what you do?
Well, the film room, that's one of the big adjustments I had to make from going from high school to college. In high school, you know, we watched film with our coaches a little bit, a couple times a week, but not how I do now. You know, I'm in here in the facility every day after class, after I go eat, for like an hour and a half watching film, just so I can be prepared for the game. And you know, I never really did that in high school.
As a local kid staying home, why decide to be at UNLV compared to other opportunities you may have had elsewhere?
I just want to stay home, you know, be close to family, and you know, I really liked. When I was younger, I really liked coming to UNLV games and cheering them on. So I like the coaches, I like the culture here, I like, you know, the idea of staying home, be able to play for the hometown team, and you know, all that put together is just, you know, exactly what I wanted.
You have a very close, tight-knit family with your parents and your sisters playing up in Utah. How important is the family aspect to just what you do every day? Yeah, it's huge. You know, I lean on my family for a lot of things. My sister, you know, she's one of my biggest inspirations up at Utah. She's, you know, an athletic freak. You know, I would say she got the better genes. But yeah, my family, my parents, you know, they do everything for me. And also my little sister Gentry, she's my rock. You still have 3 years left here at UNLV. You have a new complex. You're going to be playing in the brand new Allegiant Stadium next year.
you've got to be pretty excited about where this is going to go in your college career.
Oh yeah, this is I'm really excited. I got the redshirt last year. Have 4 years left still. It's ridiculous, honestly, because next year we get the stadium. That's one of the coolest things I'm probably ever going to be able to experience. This facility that we're in right now, it's top notch. Everything's going in the right direction, and I couldn't be more excited.
All right, so here's a kid who broke the state high school records, decides to stay home. Seen a lot of good things from him. There's a lot of upside to Kenyon Oblad.
A ton of upside to Kenyon Oblad. I mean, he's a really good kid. You see how polished he is there, talking with you guys, and the team really. I mean, they have an affinity for him too. They really like him. He's liked by his teammates and his coaches, and he's a hard-working kid. And he's got, there's some things he's got to get better at. And I mean, just like every single one of us, you know what I'm saying? But he's willing to put in the work and the effort, and and I think when it's all said and done, I mean, I think he's going to do some amazing things here at UNLV.
Well, next we're going to talk to one of his favorite targets, wide receiver Randal Grimes. The local product, as Oblad is, has returned home, and he has become a huge weapon for the Rebels offense, all while balancing being a family man. This story straight ahead.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by RC Willey and Levitt Law Firm.
Randal Grimes turned on a lot of heads when he was in high school here in Las Vegas, and now he's turning them at the collegiate level upon his return to his hometown.
Randal Grimes has made an immediate impact at UNLV. The sophomore wide receiver has had some big catches, and his electrifying skills have drawn the attention of fans and opposing defenses. Grimes is a local product who started Desert Pines High School and was a 4-star recruit. He went to USC for a couple of years, but decided to transfer, and it didn't take long for him to commit to coming home.
When I knew I had the chance to come back, it was a no-brainer. I wanted to be back home. I got all my family here, so a big support system is just somebody I can really lean on, and I can really be successful here.
As a kid, Grimes saw UNLV football struggle to be consistent, but he sees the culture change that is critical to turning a program around.
A lot more leaders. Everybody's picking each other up, leading each other, standing on each other, holding you guys accountable on and off the field, So really just, I see a huge change.
Grimes comes from a big and athletic family. His older brother, Nate, is a star basketball player at Fresno State. The core support group, though, is here in Southern Nevada, and that includes his kids. That's right, Grimes is a father and credits that support group for helping him find balance.
I got a great mother of the kids who take care of everything and stuff like that when I'm working at football and school and stuff like that. So it really takes the stress off me and kind of just lets me focus and stuff like that. But definitely when I get the time to go home and stuff like that, I definitely go home and spend all my time there with them.
Grimes looks at fatherhood as a blessing that has made him better in all facets of his life.
It's really fun. It's a lot to experience. It kind of made me grow as a man and as a person, and just made me just handle my responsibilities like I'm supposed to.
And at home games, his biggest fans are in the stands, including his oldest daughter, who now recognizes Dad on the field. That has made the move back home worth everything.
It's really fun. It's really cool, to have somebody look up to you like that, and it's a blessing for me, honestly.
Certainly difficult to balance everything he does, but he's doing it very well, and an extremely talented wide receiver.
He's really talented. I mean, he's young, sophomore. He's got a lot of maturing to do and things like that. But I tell you what, he cares, and that's the main thing. He cares. He wants to be great. And he wants to do good for his kids. We had a long conversation about it when he decided to come back home, and it was important for him to be around his kids, and to be a father to them, not just once in a while, but every single day. And and I'm proud of him. He's grown a lot just in the short amount of time that he's been back, and he'll continue to grow. And when it's all said and done, he'll just be known as a good father and a good football player.
We're going to take one final break. We're back with some final thoughts from Coach Sanchez and the UNLV football plays of the week. But as we go to break, here's a look at how other Mountain West teams did over the weekend.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by RC Willey and Levitt Law Firm.
Bye week for the Rebels this week. I assume coaches hitting the recruiting trail a little bit as well.
Yeah, we will. We'll clean up everything tonight from this last game, and then practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Thursday everybody will hit the road recruiting. So we got a couple days out there left and go hunt.
And then Hawaii comes back here in a couple of weeks, and that's a team that UNLV has been in a lot of shootouts with over the years. High-powered offense team that's going to challenge our defense.
No doubt. We're going to have to clean some things up in the back end, and we're going to have to really establish the run game, shorten that game a little bit. But every year since I've been here, it's been a back and forth, great contest. It was last year, one that we got away from us at the very end of the game, but we played really well. So we got to figure out a way to slow down McDonald in that offense.
There's been some dinged-up injuries for this team. This bye week, do you expect to get more guys healthy and ready to go for the final 3 games?
Yeah, hopefully Noah Bean should be back. Dominion Ezenwar, defensive tackle, we should have him back this week. Godfrey and Jamal Neal, 2 of our real good special teams guys, they should be back this week. Justice Olawashone, who went down during the game, where it's an ankle, we're hoping we'll have him back this week. So there's a handful, 5, 6, 7 guys that we got to do a really good job with treatment this week and get them back on the field.
All right, Coach, have a good week. We're back next Sunday in the RebZone. We'll do a more deeper preview of the Hawaii game, plus more features for you. Thanks for joining us for this one. We leave you tonight with the UNLV Football Plays of the Week. Good night.
The RebZone Sports Show, sponsored by RC Willey and Levitt Law Firm.